What's going on, church family? Welcome back to another FBC Daily Activity. I've got a joke for you today. And so this joke is about a preacher, a banker, and a lawyer. And one day, this preacher and this banker and this lawyer, they go out hunting. And they're hunting, they've got their rifles, they're looking for a nice deer to kill and bring home. And sure enough, not too long into their hike, they're walking along, a deer comes right across their path, and all three of them, right at the same time, load up their rifles, cock their guns, and shoot, and that deer goes down, and they all look at each other, they're all so excited, and they all run up, and the banker says, "Oh, I got him," and the preacher says, "No, it was me, I got him," and the lawyer says, "No, surely that was my bullet, I got him." And, just about this time, a game warden was coming by, and they waved him down, and they said, "Game warden, look, we shot this deer, and we can't figure out which one of us, shot the deer. Can you help us figure out which one of us it was that's bullet flew true?" And the game warden looked at the deer and looked around and made his analyzation and came back to him and said, "Well, is one of y'all a preacher?" The preacher said, "Oh, I am. I'm a preacher." And the game warden said, "Well, I'm certain it was you that shot the deer." And the lawyer and the banker, "Well, how do you know?" And they said, "Well, the bullet went right in one ear and right out the other, so I know it was the preacher." And so, in one ear and out the other, you get it. So that was another joke from David Johnson's joke book. And so, with Wednesdays, with our daily activities, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Rather than do an exercise, you can still do an exercise, and please look back at some of our previous videos to pick out an exercise to do today. But with these rest of these Wednesdays videos, they're going to be fun days is what they're going to be. And so I've got a couple of fun activities. I'll always have a joke for you on Wednesdays, but today I've got kind of a trick that I want to teach you, and this is a trick you can use on maybe a niece or a nephew or just your friends or a grandchild. And so this is kind of a fun trick, and this is a trick you can do whether you're sitting down or standing up. I'm going to do it sitting down, but most of you have probably tried rubbing your belly and patting your head at the same time. And maybe you've mastered that, all right? Maybe you're really good at rubbing your belly and patting your head at the same time. It's a little hard at first, but eventually you can do it. Well, today's trick is kind of like that, doing two things at the same time, but I'm pretty sure this one's impossible because I've tried it about 100 times and I can't do it, okay? And it's interesting because it's kind of involves the way that your brain thinks. And so what you do is, you can do it sitting down or standing up. And this is what Amy was talking about on Monday. On Monday we did our ankle twists and our leg circles while we were sitting down. And so this was kind of like that. But the first thing you want to try to do, kind of like rubbing your stomach, is you're going to take your right foot and you're going to spin it clockwise, all right? I'm spinning it as if it were a clock face, and those were the hands going around a clock. And so I'm going to spin that in the air clockwise, and then at the same time, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try and write the number 6, just like that. Now, it's going to be backwards to you, but to me, that's like if I were writing on a chalkboard the number 6 right there. And I'm going to try to do those two things at the same time, but the thing is, I'm not going to be able to do it. All right? As soon as I try to write that 6 while I'm spinning my foot in the air, my brain is going to trick my foot into going backwards and going counterclockwise. And I'm not going to be able to keep it going in the clockwise direction. So y'all watch me try, and you try it out for yourself. You'll maybe do this with other people aren't around, else they might think you're a little crazy, all right? But you go that clockwise, and then I'm going to draw the number 6 in the air. I messed up. See? You can't do it. So let's try again. I'm going to draw my number 6. And you just can't do it. Something about your brain tricking your foot into going the other direction than what you're trying to tell it to do. So that's a fun trick. I told my wife, I said, "Hey, if you can spin your foot in a circle clockwise and draw the number 6, then I'll buy you dinner. But if you can't, then you have to buy me dinner." And so I got a free dinner out of that. Maybe you can too. So with that, we're going to jump into our devotion for the day. And our devotion is going to come from Hebrews chapter 6. And this is entitled, "We Can Have Hope Over Death." There's an old saying that says, when a person loses hope, they begin to hope for death. Life is hard without hope. Life becomes drudgery, misery, and meaningless. One reason people lose hope is that they put their hope on the wrong things. beliefs that disappoint, and unrealistic dreams, and even delusions about life and other people, and oftentimes even God. But God never disappoints. He gets blamed for a lot of evil that people do, but God is the one in whom we want to and should put our hope. Why? Because God always wants the best for us. His words say, "I know the plans I have for you, to give you a hope and a future." God always loves us. God's always faithful. Even in death, he gives us hope. In his son Jesus, we see that God understands the pain of death and offers us the hope of victory over death. And when we have hope over death, we can begin to live hopefully every day. So where is your hope? And so that brings me to that passage in Hebrews, and this is Hebrews 6:17 through 20. And I'm reading this in the Message version because I think it puts it most clearly in what it would be in our modern language. And it says this: "When God wanted to guarantee his promises, he gave us his word, a rock-solid guarantee. God can't break his word. And because his word cannot change, the promise is likewise unchangeable. We who have run for our very lives to God have every reason to grab the promised hope with both hands and never let go. It's an unbreakable spiritual lifeline, reaching past all appearances right up to the very presence of God, where Jesus, running ahead of us, has taken up his permanent post as high priest for us." Man, I think that's an amazing lesson. That gives me hope, especially even in these times. And it's right. When we read God's promises in Scripture, we know that those are going to come true for us. And so, in those things, we can put our hope. With that, we'll see y'all tomorrow for another Where Are They Now? Stay tuned for that. We'll be somewhere over at the church, and I don't even know where yet. So you're just going to have to tune in tomorrow and find out. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a great Wednesday.